it is my honor to turn the service over to Sister Rose. Please welcome her as she comes.
God is so good and so wonderful. We're so happy for all of our visitors that are here today. God bless you. We hope that you enjoy the service. Yes, I'm trying to look at this message that I have because I've done it somewhat time ago, but I'm going to hit it here in just a minute. Let me say, I was thinking for sure, we're living in a time when the test comes, it proves who you are. It proves who you are. You know, you can say I'm a strong person, I'm this and I'm that and all that good stuff. And after you get through saying it, it means nothing if you can't stand the test. The test truly determines whether we're strong, whether we're weak, whether we just can't make it. That's what the test does. But I want to preach to you a little while this morning. And I'm coming from 1 Corinthians, I think the third chapter. It says, for other foundation can no man lay that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, and hay, and stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. I want to preach a little while this morning to you. You really got to stop and ask yourself, not just preachers, but people as a whole, what sort are you? Are you really good stuff? Or are you just some junk, some hay, stubble, and what have you? But are you really, really made of good material? Good materials don't get destroyed by fire. You can put fire to gold and it'll still be gold. But anything else around that is just people are basically trying to make do to exactly where they are. So, as I said this morning, every person has a test coming your way, every person. And no matter what you say, you are going to face it sooner or later. I'm glad because from the time I first got saved, I went through the test immediately. And I said to the Lord, I'm a new convert. I'm not supposed to have all this as a new convert. But it kept coming and it kept coming. But I'm thankful to God that I survived it and went through it with victory. That I was an overcomer in spite of that. Many things will come your way to test you. The things that you did in the world that you've done, whether you told somebody off or whatever, when you're put through the test, it's going to show whether or not you're really made of the good stuff. You can talk big and you can talk beautiful words and all these things and present yourself as this person that's got it together and everything's going good or what have you. But the time is coming that will test every person. The people in this building. Everybody's going to go through the test. And what are you going to do? Can you pass it or not? Nothing is worse than you think you really know it and flunk the test. I was in Germany one time and going to get my driver's license in Germany, which I wasn't really fond of because there's no speed limit on the Autobahn. You can drive 115, 120 miles an hour if you want to. You don't get tickets. And I thought, well, I'm going to go get my driver's license. Went down, studied the book, and in my own heart I said, this is a breeze. Nothing to it. Went in there, took the test, and flunked by 1 point. When I got up, I was aggravated because I really thought I had that. And I was looking at the other people sitting there. I thought they're taking all this time And I've done it in a few minutes and it's done. But hey, they might have passed. I didn't. So I said that to say this, that sometimes you think that you're in a better place than what you really are. Sometimes you've given yourself all this talk about who you are and who you think you are, but who you think you are and who you are two different things. Because we always like to think the best of ourselves, that we are the best, we're doing good and all this. But then what are you going to do when you really face the heat? And the heat is the fire. So if we as the people of God don't build properly on the foundation's already been laid for all of us. So all we got to do is build off of it. So what are you going to build on this foundation? The foundation is good. It's not shaky. It's solid because no foundation laid except what he already laid. So we know it's a good foundation, but now we're at the place where you're dealing with this. Okay, so what am I building? What am I using? What's the materials I'm using? When you build off of your own righteousness, you will never last. When you build off of who you think you are, you will never last. If you get yourself in a position where you just really know that I can overcome this, but when the test comes, you didn't overcome it. What is that? We don't have any real solid material that we're building with. He says some build with wood, hay, and stubble. The people that build with gold, silver, and precious stone, they're going to last. They can take the heat. They won't fall apart. They won't melt. But they'll stand up for what they really are. And so I am concerned that during this pandemic, how many people it really showed who they were. I've never seen so many scared, frightened people in my life. I don't even go out of the house except coming to church, in most cases, but just what I've seen is this fear of I'm going to catch something. I might catch it. I might catch it. Well, why can't you say, I probably won't? Because so a man think in his heart, so is he. So if I think I'm going to catch it, if I think I'm going to be infested, it's a good chance that you're going to be. So I got to set my mind to the point that I'm not concerned about it. God is taking care of me. He said the angels of the Lord encamped round about those that fear him. So I have no reason to fear. I have no reason to be afraid. The first time I put a mask on was when I had to go to the dentist's office. They said, Rose, be sure to bring your mask. I said, well, I don't have one. She said, well, we'll have one for you. Well, I decided to go ahead and take one of my wide headbands. And if I didn't feel goofy, and I pulled it up, had little stones all on it, really fancy. So when I went in the dentist's office, they said, Rose, you imagine you got on navy clothes and you got a navy mask. I said, no, it's my headband. And so I pulled it up, and I kept feeling like I needed to talk. And so I was trying to talk with it on, but I found myself doing this on a constant because I couldn't talk good. I thought, this is uncomfortable. So when you look at the people, and they get mad with you if you don't wear a mask. They get mad. People looking at you like, what's wrong with you? And they sure looking at the black people saying, y'all the one killing everybody. You heard it on the news, more black people are dying than anybody. Y'all get infected in a minute, and so you walk around here and you don't have a mask? No, I'm not going to get infected. He said, how do you know that? Because I know God. I know God. Listen, some hold nothing but the truth talking about preachers as it is in Jesus and preach nothing else. And others build on the good foundation what will not abide the test when the day of trial comes. The day of the epidemic showed what sort you were. It showed who the preachers were. They were standing in the pulpit telling you all about God and what you should do and talking about faith and confidence and all these things. And you never had more preachers running like scared rabbits. I'm thinking, okay, if you my pastor, are you supposed to be standing tall and strong so I can stand tall and strong? That's right. I'm not going to, they said, well, why didn't y'all close the church? Well, the governor made it okay for us to keep it open. Yes. So if he tells us you can keep it open and you still shut it, it's a true sign of what sort you are. See, but if otherwise you're going to take advantage of this situation and say, thank God that I still can go to church. I still can go to church. I can worship. I can lift up God. I'm telling you, what would we have done if church had been closed all this time? Some of y'all wouldn't be here because you ain't made of a good sort. It wouldn't have lasted. The day of the epidemic, it continually spreads over this country and around the world. And I am convinced the only people dying is the people God allows. If he doesn't do it, I don't have to worry about it. And so I truly believe that the epidemic, and everybody may not agree with it, but the epidemic is God moving throughout the whole world, sending a message, saying, you know what? You need to build something solid. So when something like a pandemic comes and you didn't know it was coming, none of us knew it was coming, suddenly it was here. And suddenly it was spreading everywhere. All over the place. People were dying. They had bodies stacked up literally in funeral homes, just stacked up on top of each other because so many people were dying so fast. How is it that we as the people of God are still standing? We're still standing. Your actions, all of that determines whether or not you made of the real thing. So, Solomon said, there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So whatever you think is covered up, the time comes, the cover comes off. And so, and through all of that, God teaches us something. It made me understand why I need to stay close to the rock. I need to stay close to the rock so I can lean on it in time of trouble. That I can have peace of mind. That I'm not troubled and worried and can't sleep at night. I didn't sleep last night, but it sure wasn't because I was worried about anything. Not by a long shot. See? And I look at what's going on here, and I am appalled by the fact that Kenneth Copeland comes on TV and tells the people, I don't care if you can't go to church, you better get them tithes in here. And I'm thinking, what about the people that don't have jobs and can't eat and don't know how to pay their rent? Have you prepared anything for that? So don't just think about yourself. Too many selfish preachers in the pulpit today that thinks only of themselves, and because of that, the people of God are suffering. They're suffering. Yes. Selfishness is a terrible thing because it means that you're preoccupied with you, not about anybody else. We had to be sure that we ask our people, but God has kept almost our whole church with their jobs. Not hardly one person is without their job. We haven't had one person sick. They're all doing well. Yes. I think, what kind of plan was put in place for families that are suffering, that lost their jobs, that don't have a way of doing it? What kind of plan did you put in place that these people might have something? We checked with our people, who's out of work? One person. And it wasn't long before she was back. She needed $2,500 to tide her over till she went back to work. We gave it to her. We didn't lend it to her with interest. No. So I think if we as a church, if we don't represent more than just about us, but about the people that we speak to and preach to every day, may we be an example of the person who cares about you, a caring pastor, a caring preacher. Yes. I want you to understand You got to be a shepherd, not a hireling. A hireling is one that just there for money. That's what they're there for, to get as much money as you can. And so, what happens to the people that don't have it? Be prepared to say, what can I do to help you? What can I do to lift your burden? What can I do to make you feel better about the situation? That's why he says, get up under each other's burdens. Bear it up so the burden is not so heavy. Yes. Ministers travel land and sea to proselyte sinners and make them twice as much the child of hell as they are. How tragic. I just want to get as many people as we can get, because if I get more people, I got more money. People that's sitting in the audience have to believe they're more than just $1. They're more than just $1. Yes. You got to do what represents the kingdom very well. And you as a preacher need to be out of gold and silver and precious stones. You need to have the real thing, so when everything is going bad, they can say, well, we can call Sister Rose, or we can pray, or we can join hands and pray for each other, support each other. It's vitally important. Listen, I'm tired of all the junk that you're told to take. If you do this, God's going to give you this. If you do this, God's going to give you that. He's going to give it to me if I don't give it to you. Since when? Since when did it just starts with you? God's promised to supply all of our needs, every one of them. But if you make me feel like the only way they're going to get supplied is if I do you first, well, I truly believe in giving. I am the epitome of giving, but the bottom line is what it is. Yes. I'm sad by what I see. And they got so many tricks, all kind of junk to get more money. I don't believe in that thing called debt cancellation. Your debt cancellation is when you make your last payment. That's what that's what it is. Your last payment on that bill, it canceled out. Don't come and tell me the Lord said he's going to cancel all your debt. Where in the word did it say that? If any preacher come to you telling you something about what they think it ought to be done, if scripture can't back it up, it's no good. It's no good. You got to ask yourself this morning, what sort am I? Am I the real thing? Or do I just go to church just to be going to church? What do I go for? I go to worship God, to praise him, to lift him up. That's what I'm here for. Yes. They're like clouds and wind without rain. Is a man who boasts of something he does not have. So we hear a lot of boasting from the pulpit, but we don't see people who got the goods. I need you to have the goods. You know, I don't understand why you're teaching us that we got to do all this giving. I believe in giving, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, quit telling me that's my only means of which I will receive. Quit telling me that if I do this and do that, this is going to make the difference in your life. It may or may not make the difference. Then you got people sitting around, I just don't go to church no more. Because they tell you God's going to do this and he's going to do that, and none of it really happens. So I don't go to church anymore. Who's going to give an account for that? Who's going to give an account? Somebody's going to do it. See? So ask yourself, what sort, what place, what rank are you in? So I don't want to be at the bottom of the barrel. I want to be at the top. I want to be the best I can be. I want to shine for the kingdom. I want to show the world that there's a reason to serve God. Yes. And I'm not going to be able to do that if I don't do what I need to do and spend time with God. You know what's going to prepare you for the fire? As somebody was saying this morning, praying, reading the word, fasting, seeking God. Fasting is a bad word in most churches. It's not here. Fasting must be done. Prayer must be done. Getting into the word must be done. Yes. I can say for sure I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't fasted and prayed over these years, the last 52 years of my life that I've been serving God, I'm still standing. I'm still standing because I've done what I needed to do to become solid. So I'm made up of certain sort, because now, without a doubt, I am in a place where you don't have to worry about the storm coming, the wind blowing, that it's going to blow something down. You're solid. We don't have a lot of solid people. We have a lot of people talk about it, but not solid. You got to ask yourself, what am I? Who am I? Am I good and solid and strong that when the fire comes, it won't demolish me? That I'm still in a good place? You gotta prepare for that. Prepare for the storm, because the storms are going to come. I remember when I married my daughter some years ago, her and P got married, and I something was in the words that I spoke to them. Build your marriage, because for sure, the storm is coming. You can stand at this altar and say, I love you and I do. Are you prepared for all the things that happen in a marriage? Are you prepared to be strong enough that no matter what comes, you still can overcome? You still can make it through it. Nothing can sweep you away. The trials and the things that have come to me in my life have been many. And they still come to this day. Still come. And they're going to come until you draw your last breath. Because everything is being tested. For you to get to heaven, you got to pass the test. You got to understand, when I go through the fire, I'm coming out whole. I'm coming out the same. Usually some people go through a trial or something, they come to church, they look like the devil beat them with an ugly stick. I mean, they just down and out and looking pitiful and can't hardly make it. You say, are you okay? I don't know if I'm going to make it. Don't ever say that. If you say that, you're not going to make it. Because so a man think in his heart, so is he. So I know I'm going to make it. Why? Because it depends on what sort I am. Preachers. We got enough churches throughout America that preachers could have come together, churches could have come together and said, we're going to have church, we need to worship God. They couldn't have done nothing about it. But the majority just panned out, just left, didn't stand up. You know why? The strength is not there. The power is not there. The thing, my faith in God has been shaken. It's not there. As a result of that, when something comes, we just fall apart. We should have had a church all over this country, stood tall, and God would have shown himself in a mighty way in this country. Certain stuff burns up fast. I looked a little bit about how bales of hay, it can burst into flames without any reason. Just burst into flames. So what are you? You hay? You just catch on fire and burn up? Yes. When stubble burns, it leads to the ground temperatures rising and the soil dries up. You can't survive if you are these things. It's bad material. The burning of stubble is a major health hazard. So if you are stubble, you cause many problems to exist in the world. Many things, because it produces an uncontrollable amount of harmful smoke that causes air pollution to the immediate vicinity. So if you're stubble, you are a great hazard to anybody around you. You can't stand tall. You can't stand strong. Because at the end of the day, you're going to burn up. Nothing is left. See, the furnace that we go through is the furnace of affliction. And God puts us through there and say, look at this. Did I come out okay? Am I better? Boy, I'm stronger. I love God better than more than ever. I'm in a good place. Boy, I feel good about that. The fire didn't burn up the 3 Hebrew boys. Even when they heated it 7 times hotter, it still didn't destroy them. Why? Because the 4th man was always in their life. He showed up that day. Yes. No matter what, he made it through it. They said, we're not going to bow. We're not going to give in to you no matter what, because we believe the God we serve, he's going to take care of us. Can you truly say this morning, I'm not worried about tomorrow because he's going to take good care of it. I don't have to concern myself. Well, how am I going to make it? How am I going to pay my rent? He said, David said, I was young and now I'm old. I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. God's always going to provide for his people. In the most difficult time, when nobody else is eating, you're eating. When nobody else is sleeping and resting at night with peace of mind, you are. Because God is taking care of his people, no matter what. You got to understand that I got to check and see what sort I am, so that I must be convinced that I'm of a good sort. If I don't, I'm going to be destroyed. Find out, but don't lie to yourself. Deal with what it is. Because it don't take but a little bit of fire to cause some people to just blow up and give up. They lost their job. Oh, they're done. I thought God would help me. If you stay true to him, he will. He will. He will help you. You got to look at your life and say, you know what? I need to dig in. I need to dig in. I need to get closer to God. I need to come and get to know him. Because when you do, it's going to make all the difference in the world. He talked about the preachers. He said, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God unto the shepherds, woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flock? I should not be involved just with me. This is about you. Ministry is about you. It's not about the preacher. He said, you eat the fat, you clothe you with the wool, you kill them that are fed, but you feed not the flock. You're not feeding the people of God. If you don't get good spiritual food, you can't survive. Anybody that eats junk food all the time, they don't last. They have more issues. In the long run, it destroys their body. But if you get a good, balanced diet, let's talk about a good spiritual diet of the Word of God coming forth, you're going to grow. He said, the disease have ye not strengthened, neither have you healed that which was sick, neither have you bound up that which was broken, neither have you brought again that which was driven away, neither have you sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have you ruled them. When you just yelling at me through the TV screen and telling me what I better do, I can tell you right now that's what I wouldn't do. You just won't tell me, point your finger at me, tell you better do this. This is cruel because I'm not considering. I'm trying to see where you're at, that I might speak a word of encouragement to you. A word that will help you to be lifted up rather than crushed down. Yes. He said, you scattered my sheep because there is no shepherd. You're not shepherds. And they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. My sheep wandered throughout all the mountains and upon every high hill. Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek them out. My job is to go find you, help you. When you get down in a place that you can't get up, as a pastor, I should come and help you. As a pastor, I should reach out to you. As a pastor, I should say, here's a hand up. Yes. The sheep are suffering. They don't have any good pasture because everything that's being fed is junk food. And you can't survive off of it. It's not healthy. It's not nutritious for you. That you might be a strong person so that you really can flex your muscles when the devil shows up. I don't bow to the devil. I don't have to give a whole bunch of stuff. I am what God says I am. Yes. He says, surely you made my flock a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd. Neither did my shepherds search for the flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not the flock. Selfishness. I'm about me. How fat can I make myself off this world's goods? How fat can I get with all of this that I should have shared with you? Why didn't I share? You know, back in the day when I was coming up as a girl, and you had a next door neighbor that was going home hard time, when you cook your food, you cooked enough for the neighbor. You took it over and said, we want to share with you. We want to help you. Should not that be taking places in the churches of America? Yes. Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves anymore, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. That's what you are. You're meat for the preachers. Okay, here's something. Just give me this. We were, what church were we in? Somewhere, I think in Oklahoma. Church of God in Christ. That's where I was born and raised in. And I remember them asking the people if everybody would give some money to buy the bishop a bedroom suit. Well, he got a salary. Can he buy his own bedroom suit? Why are we taking up an offering for that? And you were condemned if you didn't do it. Bishop needs a bedroom suit. Tell him to pull his checkbook out. Go ahead and write a check for it then. You need it? Write a check for it. See? So I just want to do all this stuff, basically. And so, but I'm going to make you constantly from one thing to another. You know what I see? There's very few people that'll say that's enough. It's never enough. It's always what else we need. We need this. We need that. We need you to give this money for this money for that, this money for this. And by the time you get through for everything, no wonder you're suffering. God gives us wisdom. He gives us understanding. That I'm going to give, I'm going to help, I'm going to do my part. But leave me with something. Leave me with something. Instead of, okay, I tell you to send this and do this, and then if you do that, things are going to work for you. Not true. Woe be to the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastors, saith the Lord. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries wherein I have driven them. And I will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith the Lord. You won't lack, I'm going to give you good shepherds. Nothing is better than a good shepherd. Somebody that's looking out for your welfare. I want to help you. Not a person in this church, not a person, can be in a need for anything where this church or this pastor is coming to the aid. You know why? Because I've been there before. I've been there when you had a need. I've been there when I needed something, but I didn't know where to go. I've been in those positions. And if God has blessed me, the blessing is just not for you. The blessing is to be a blessing. To reach out to bless somebody else besides you. He said, you ain't treated them right. You just don't take the time with them. Some preachers, you can't even get in to talk to them about nothing. One church told me one time that if we want to talk to the pastor, we have to fill out the paperwork, but it'll probably be a year or two before you get in. Well, I'll be dead. If I'm sick and need prayer and I can't get to you for a year or two, that should never be. I don't care how big the church is. There should be a time that's set aside that if somebody is in dire need, I need to talk to you. I need to help you. Yes. So when you look at yourself this morning, what you want to be sure is that no matter what, they said we got a second wave of the pandemic coming. Are you frightened by that? You shouldn't be. If he took care of you with the first phase, why can't he take care of you with the second? Yes. So, no, I'm not worried about tomorrow. That's why that woman got mad with me on it. I thought, it says, how do you feel? I said, I'm having a great time. They want you to be miserable. Some people want you to be miserable. I'm unhappy, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Join the club. Don't ever join a club like that. Never. So I want to move forward. I want to become what God wants me to do. I want to fulfill my purpose, and my purpose is to minister. Minister comes in many forms. Prayer, sometimes a handout, sometimes a hand up. Ministering. And the people know you. They know their leader. You know how many people don't even know the pastor? Now take time to say, I need to get to know the people that I lead. They need to get to know me. They need to know me not just in the pulpit, but outside the pulpit. That we can talk to each other and laugh and what have you. Surely that must be. Because that's all about helping to build people up. When you know you got a place that you can go in case of a difficult time, I know where I can go to get prayer. I know where I can go to be encouraged. Listen, they have fed the church with a prosperity message, and ain't nobody prospering but them. The church is not prospering. They are. So don't tell me about prosperity. If you're doing that good, can I have some? You got 10 biscuits, could I have a couple of them? You got a little piece of, a little something there in the house that I need, can I have some? No. They are hirelings. They are brutish. Have not sought the Lord, therefore they shall not prosper, and all their flocks shall be scattered. Woe unto you that lead my sheep astray. Brutish means you're cruel to them. You don't think about their feelings. Take a moment. I am always concerned. If I hear or know about somebody in this church that's having a difficult time, you're not going to be it alone. We're going to help you get out of it. Yes? A hireling is a person who works for material reward, who serves especially for like a mercenary. Mercenary is the difference between a shepherd and a hireling. The hireling does it for his own benefit. The shepherd does it for the benefit of the sheep. In contrast, the shepherd stands in when things get tough and does what he can to protect and care for the sheep. The mercenary primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. They don't have any ethics. Their morals suck. They have nothing, and all of this stuff. They will do it and not feel bad about what they've done. It's not good. If I know your pain, if I got the ointment, will I put some on there? If you can't fix your own food, will I feed you? Will I give you something to help you? How important is that? I cannot just meet anybody, I think, for the most part, that's struggling, that you don't feel the need. What can I do? Compassion says, what can I do? But it don't just say, what can I do? It says, I will do something. Yes. I cannot explain to you the most important thing. We have never seen so many immoral preachers ever in the history of this country. I mean, preachers having affairs in the church. Preachers getting illegitimate babies by women sitting on the pew. That's not exaggerated. That's a fact. That's a fact. Leaving the ministry saying I can't make it. Did God call you? If he called you, you can make it because you got to help me make it. I got to push in there, pull, give my all. Make up in my mind, look, we can make a difference in the lives of people. And we feed them the proper food so they can develop spiritually and be strong. And not weak Christians. Strong. Listen, he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are, but not seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them and scattereth the sheep, because you ran like a little jackrabbit. I need to know that you're there. For sure. It's going to be okay. Those words of comfort coming from a pastor is like gold. It's like gold. Let me help you to get through this. What must I do? The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. The hireling fleeth because he is a hireling and careth not for the sheep. You should not be in any church where the pastor is not shown that he's concerned about you. And not just from the pulpit. Come down where you're at and say, let me help you with that. That's the way it should be. That's the way God ordained it to be. Yes. Reach out. Feel my pain. Feel what I'm going through. When you feel it, you'll do something. When you feel it, you'll move to do something. We should do it. And not just say, okay, well, nothing I can do. My son the other day ran into somebody, a man and his wife, and he said they were getting ready to be kicked out of their apartment. I don't know these people. And my son said he gave him $150, and he thanked him for it, and he said the rent is $800, and I need it by the first of the month. A lot of people in that position right now. A lot of people. Because at one time they froze everything. Now it's it's off the freezer now. And I said, call him and tell him if he come to church, we'll help him with the rent. I don't know this man. But when we tried to do that, he kind of was not on the level. The things that he said, I said, oh, no, that's not good. Can't come to church. That's where you better come. That's where you should come. Yes. So when my son called me back, I said, no, something's not right about it. Well, when my wife's pregnant, she's in the hospital. He just saw him. She wasn't pregnant. Did she get pregnant overnight? If she did, she sure ain't showing it. Yes. Said, but if you come down, we'll help you. No, we can't do that right now. You don't want your rent paid. That's right. It is important that the people know how to prosper spiritually, to become solid. You got to seek God in everything and be diligent in what you're doing. Keep his commandments. Walk in his ways. Honor God with your wealth. Develop your faithfulness in God. To define what real prosperity is not about attaining wealth or living a life of luxury, but about thriving as the person God created you to be. I got to thrive spiritually. He said, I would that you prosper, be in health, even as your soul prospereth. It's not without the prosperity of the soul. God said, I want you to come to me. Here's what he says. Okay, if you have need of something, seek me first. Make me first in your life. Reach out to me. Give me some dedication. Give me some commitment. And quit making excuses why you can't do it. And then when things don't work out the way you think they ought to work out because you didn't do it. You didn't do it. There's no fault in God. The fault is in people. I got to take a look and know for sure, wait a minute. What am I doing? Quit talking about why did God let this happen to me. No, what are you not doing that it happened to you? What are you doing? If you're making God first and you're thriving spiritually, God's going to honor what you desire. He said, if you delight yourself in me, I will give you the desire of my heart. If you delight yourself in me, if you make me number one, if you love me, you don't have to struggle. God said, I'll be there for you. I'll help you. And through his pastors and leaders, he stretches out. The song we sing, oh, to be his hand extended. Reaching out to the oppressed. Let me touch Jesus so that others can be blessed. If you don't touch him, you can't help nobody. If you're not experienced God in your own life, you can't help me. If you can't help me out the ditch, if you can't get out yourself, It doesn't happen. Think about it. So I got to take a moment and make sure that I am where I need to be. I got to test myself to see whatever trial come my way, no matter how difficult it may be, I win. I know I'm going to win before I even get there. When they put Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel wasn't concerned about the lions. If he had been worried about the lions, he'd have never prayed, went back and looked out that window and prayed toward Jerusalem 3 times a day when it was already signed that you can't do that. He did it anyway. So we're going to have to put you in the lion's den. He didn't fear that. You know why? Because he's made of a different sort. He's an excellent spirit. So he didn't give in. I'm going and pray. Some of y'all say, go put you in the lion's den. Don't go. You better not pray. They tell me them lions are really hungry down there. I mean, you and I are going to make it. Oh, God was in control of it. When they put him in there, the king really wanted to not do it. But he couldn't go back on his word. According to the laws of the Medes and the Persians, you had to keep your word. But he was concerned about Daniel. Daniel went down in there, lions down in there. Them lions, what is this? What kind of meat is this? This is meat you can't eat. What's wrong with it? Yes. The lions walking around, they're hungry. But we can't eat this meat. What kind of meat is this? This is a God meat. You can't eat it. You can't devour me. Daniel wasn't worried. He prayed. Even down there, he was praying. The king got up the next morning and said, oh, Daniel, has the God you serve, did he take care of you? Did he spare your life? He said, God sent an angel and shut their jaws where they couldn't chew. You ain't having dinner on no good preacher. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. He came out better than when he went in. You know what? Every time you go through the fire and you actually make it through it, you're better. You're better because of it. Because every trial you go through makes you stronger for the next. I believe the thing that we try to get away from and don't want to do is the thing that's going to make you a stronger person. The difficult time in your life, the dark hours in your life, if you're willing to go through it, you'll be better when it's over. Our guys are different. They're different. I was so surprised the other day. David was leaving the house because he used to get irritated every time he left the house because he was into something. And I said, where are you? Why she always ask you, where are you? I said, well, I'm trying to find out if you're on the north end that you can pick me up something, or maybe you south. So I know if you south, I can't get you to do it. So I'll let somebody up here do it. If he wasn't into something, he'd have never been worried about it. So every time she want to know, where you at? Well, if you're in a good place, that ain't going to bother you. But you know what I seen in the change? And then he said to me one time, am I on a curfew? I said, every married man ought to be home no later than 10 o'clock. What are you out later than that for? Go home to your wife and your children. After 10 o'clock, dogs and everybody's walking the streets. While you out there. I thought, look at this. He called me the other day. He said, Mom, I'm at the dentist's office. I'm getting ready to go in. If you need me, I'll be there for a couple of hours. What? Are you kidding me? Then yesterday, he was going with Cliff up to meet with Andrew, and he called and said, Mama, if you're looking for me, me and Cliff's on our way up to Woodland Park to see Andrew. Okay, come back. Mama, we're on our way back. What? This is amazing. This is the man said, why she always want to know where you at? Because I'm doing something. And Mont said one time, he said, you was always walking around looking, is God told us something yet? Well, if you're doing the right thing, God don't have to tell nothing bad on you unless you're doing bad. See? But I thought, look at that change. I couldn't believe it. I was baffled. The more he talked about it, I'm here, Mom. I'm going over there. I'm going, really? Wow. The fire changed you. Because now you ain't running around, horning around nowhere. So now, I can tell you where I'm at because I'm not with Susie. I'm not with Jenny. Yes. Life is sweet when you live it right. You ain't got to worry about it. But the fire changes you. The fire take the fire out of you. That make you want to just fight and beat up people. That's what he did for me. Oh my God, I was horrible before I got saved. They named me Gangster Girl. Because I was fighting everything. Men the same way. Fighting my sister's boyfriends who done lied to them, and all they do is say, go get Rose. I got pregnant and I was still fighting. I remember 8 months pregnant with niece, and my sister's boyfriend had done something bad to her and tried to hurt her. I'm wrestling in the floor, 8 months pregnant, beating up a man. You are out of control. But God took the fire out of me so I don't have to need to fight like that no more. I fight before a cat could say meow. In a heartbeat. I didn't love nobody. I didn't love me. I didn't love nobody. But when he came into my heart and continually put me through the fire, I came out whole. I came out better. See, he will fight fire with fire. That's what he did. I told you the story how I was working at this watch factory some years ago, and these two girls didn't like me. It don't matter that they were white, black, do the same thing, but they happen to be white. And we get off in the midnight hour, and they came up behind me, and one got in front of my car, and one got behind. And they started cursing me. Nobody in their right mind would do that if I wasn't saved. If I hadn't been through the fire. You know you can't do that. They called me so many bad names in that car. And I was trying to keep the victory because I'm saved. I'm saved. God, I don't let people curse me out. Saved. So I got ready to roll the window down because one came to the window and said, I dare you to get out. I dare you, I said. If I hadn't been through the fire, you would never dare me. Because I'm going to call your dare. Do it if you will. When I got ready to roll the window down, the Lord said, don't roll the window down. I'm trying to keep you. Because you roll the window down and they reach in there for you, hey, it's over. It's over. I'm trying to get through the fire. I'm taking you through the fire. Take the cursing. Take what they're saying about you, Rose. I went home down the road when I finally pulled out in the car, and I was crying all the way home. And I looked up to the Lord. I said, Lord, I'm crying because I couldn't beat the crap out of them. I wasn't crying because I was sad what they cursed me out. I'm upset because I couldn't beat the crap. But he taught me. Now, I could get mistreated in the dental chair and still have victory. Yes. I went through more situations with people cursing me out and trying to attack me, and he put me through the fire, and he took the fire out to fight. Not that kind of fight, Rose. The lady who slammed me up against her wall because I asked her for the money that she owed me. She wanted to have a dress that I had. She wanted to buy it. Okay, I'll sell it to you. I'll pay you payday. Payday never came. So I went to her house. I said, you have my money? Have your money. I don't think I said nothing wrong. Went inside the house, and she started cursing me out. Slammed me side the wall. Said, I will shoot you in your so-and-so. When she pushed me against the wall, I came back up like this. I said, I said, you shouldn't push me. Looking just as crazy. I saved, for God's sake. I'm a new convert. And I said, don't push me. I'm trying to keep the victory. And she said, and her husband, Sergeant Hill, was such a nice guy. He was very good friends to my husband, and he was they were in the Masons together. And he come over, he said, Miss Banks, he said, I'm sorry for what she's doing to you. Just go ahead and leave. He said, I don't want that. She come back looking, gonna have her gun, she gonna shoot me in the blankety blank. Yeah. I went down the street again crying. I said, God, it's getting a bit rough. He said, I'm trying to make you of a good sort. You got to go through this to be a good sort. I was in a white organization in Oklahoma, the Pentecostal Church of God. I was the only black person in there. And I got told some lies on that wasn't true. We went to the pastor's house, and I said to the pastor, what they're saying about me is not true. But he was very soft toward people that paid good tithes or whatever. So she said, I had prayed before I got to the meeting, and I said, Lord, please help me to stay saved, so when I leave the meeting, I'm still saved, because I don't know what's going to happen. When I got in the pastor's house, Sister Martin, you've heard this story before, but other people ain't heard it. She walked with a cane. She was 70-something years old, and she raised the cane up, and she said, you know what? I'm going to heaven, and ain't no keep me out. I ain't never been called a ever. You wouldn't call me unsaved? And I hear I'm being put to the test. So when she said, I said, I had a lump right here. I swallowed it. And I said, Sister Martin, he was making me another sort. Another sort. Yes. I said, Sister Martin, very low voice. I said, if you get to heaven, you're right. One can keep you out. You're going to keep yourself out. I said, it's soft. That's not me. Who I was, I'd have took her cane and beat the crap out of her. By the time I finished with her, she wouldn't have a cane and neither walking. So God had fixed me. Fixed it. You still had your cane and you walked. You left walking. I'm thinking, I got to get to church that night and lead the service. And they were sitting in the audience. Honey, I lifted my eyes up to the hill. I began to praise God and worship God. I didn't think about what just happened to me, because I've been changed to another sort. Yeah. God's trying to make something good out of you. Let him do it. Quit complaining about the fire. You know, honey, something's going to have to break here. No, stay in there. When he finishes the work, you'll be a different sort, but you'll be a good sort. A sort that people can relate to, you can help and reach out. You can't be a pastor and fighting. Being a pastor is the most difficult job on the planet, because you're dealing with all kind of people. Ain't none of them alike. Everyone is different. And you got something to say, Sister Rose? I received that. Amen. You got another one say, honey, you know the Lord said that? Well, what could be the problem? Baby, you better do what he said. I don't even see why you coming to me. I'm coming to you because you of the devil. That's why I'm coming to you. Don't get mad with me because I come to you for who you are. You're doing the right thing. We ain't got no problem. It says don't get uptight when the word comes to correct you. Grown people do not like correction. And don't tell me nothing. I know what I'm doing, and bless God, honey, you ain't the only one saved. You ain't the only one God's talking to. Let me tell you that. I said, well, I'll be very stupid. Boy, Miss Linda, you having a ball, ain't you? Yes. Yes. So whatever you are this morning, tell the Lord, create me and let me become the right sort so that the good flows through me, not bad things.
I'm glad that man, he didn't let teardrops fall. You know what? I know he'd find joy in every tear that I shed. Oh, see, and I'm glad that man didn't make heartaches. 'Cause I know he'd give me more. He'd give me more than I could bear. Oh, see, and I'm glad that man, he didn't create me